The Mesa Mark V 25. Am I going to keep it or am I going to sell it? Let's find out. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of my series, Keep It or Sell It. And in this episode, I'm going to decide on whether or not I'm going to keep or sell my Mesa Mark V 25. Now, I bought this amplifier before I bought my JP Mark II C+, and this was my introduction into the Mark world as far as the Mesa Boogie amps go. And I really liked this amplifier. I think it had a lot to offer and lots of great features and different tones you could get out of it. You have the Mark II C+ mode, you also have the Mark IV mode, and then you also have the Extreme mode, and it's got a great clean channel. I haven't played it in a while, so I'm going to go through all of the different modes and channels on the amp and just screw around with it, and by the end of the video, I'm going to see if I'm going to keep it or sell it. I think I kind of already have my mind made up about this one, but if I consider going down that path, I'll explain and maybe even display to you why I've made that decision. So without further blabbering here, let's go ahead and start with the clean channel. I'm going to turn on the Julia chorus and my delay pedals and stuff because I use effects, as you guys know. So why not just keep all that stuff on so I can just display the amplifier the way I play it anyways. So here are the settings on the amp, and I'm going to change to the clean channel now. I think it's in crunch mode. Let me go to clean mode. All right, so let's see what it sounds like. Yeah, that sounds good. That's a really good clean channel. I had to make some adjustments on the amp after I showed you the picture of it. I had the gain up too high because I think last time I used it, it was in crunch mode. So, anyways, yeah, that's a really good clean channel. Let's go over a couple different features. I'm going to switch cameras here. So you have clean, and I think this is fat, and then you have crunch. So let's switch it from clean to fat as I'm playing and just see how it sounds different there. Definitely a lot more low end. So probably used for single coil pickups. You know, if you have a guitar with single coils and you want to fatten it up a little bit, that works perfect. I don't need that because obviously I have the old humbuckers here. So yeah, it sounds great in just the regular clean mode for me. Let's try the crunch mode and see what that sounds like. Not bad, actually, for a crunch mode. Let's boost it with the, let's use the grid slammer. Let's keep it all Mesa today. Wow, that mode is actually much better than I remember it. Let's dial it in a little bit and see if we can get more out of it. Now, as you may or may not know, this is kind of an active circuit with this area here in front of the power section. So this is basically, it's actually in front of the preamp as well. And this this circuit, you know, kind of acts like a little bit like a boost pedal. And that's why a lot of people say, oh, you don't need a boost pedal with Mark amps. And it's kind of true. So I'm going to turn the boost off and see if that is the case in this particular channel. I know it is in channel 2, but let's see if that still works in channel 1. Okay, not so much in this channel. So let me turn the boost pedal back on. I'll play a little bit first, and then I'll turn it on while I'm playing. That is a fantastic crunch channel. Plenty of gain for crunch rhythms, and yeah, you can do leads on this as well. Definitely have to boost it, but I don't care. I boost every freaking amp. If I could get away with it, I'd probably boost my boost pedals. So yeah, great channel, very versatile. So you have the clean, you have the fat, and then you have the crunch mode, which is very usable. I love the fact that they put this kind of versatility in the amplifier, and it's all usable stuff. It's not like, oh, here's your crappy crunch channel. It basically breaks up a little bit and it's kind of crappy, but hey, it's crunchy, so enjoy. You know, I hate it when companies do that. And Mesa did not do that with this amp. Actually, it's a 100% usable crunch channel. So I like that. I like it a lot. All right, so let's switch over from this to the Mark IV version of channel 2. Let's see what that sounds like. And I'll put the camera back on the amp so that you can see when I switch them. And I'm going to keep the boost pedal on for now, and I'll monkey around with it afterwards. All right, so when you switch over, the first thing I noticed anyways is that channel 2 is a little more compressed. I like compression. It's actually a good thing for me. I don't really prefer really open amps because they're too airy. You know, I like a thick, compressed sound. Not overly compressed, but enough to make it have that great feel and that saturation. It just acts differently and it feels better for me anyways when I'm playing it. It's just more responsive and immediate. Where an open amp, it just kind of feels, like I said, empty and airy. Some people really like that. I prefer some compression. And again, not too much, just enough. And I think this amp has just enough. The other thing I noticed is in this particular channel, there's more gain, a little more aggression, and I feel like the active circuit, which is basically the EQ and the preamp section, is it's got a little more of a different flavor to it, and I feel like it's a little more active. I can tell that when I turn the treble knob up, I'm probably going to get a lot more out of it. So let's go ahead and turn the boost pedal off now and put the camera back on the amp, and let's screw around with the treble knob and see how much aggression and tightness we can get out of this channel. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I like that. So as soon as you turn up the treble on this particular channel, you're definitely getting that active circuit boost kind of thing. And if you notice too, I had the mids cranked, and that's kind of a nice feature as well, because you actually get more gain. If you go past noon on the mids, you actually get more gain. I'll show you that now. So let's turn the mids down to mid. Turn it down to noon here, and we'll turn it up. I don't know if you'll notice it, but I will. Hang on one second. Yeah, the gain structure definitely changes. And if you notice, when I turn the mids down and up, it didn't change the voicing of the amp. All it's doing is changing the gain structure, and it just adds a little more texture to the gain, and I feel like it's adding more gain as well. So that's actually a neat trick, and that's the thing that I like about these amps. If you understand how marks work, the whole preamp section isn't really a EQ, it's a tone shaping section, almost like an overdrive pedal is, but it's a little different than an overdrive pedal. I think it's in some ways better. So it's a you know, completely different kind of thing than what you see like on the EVH amp. When you turn the treble up on the EVH amp, it gets brighter. You know, and when you do it on a Mesa, or at least a Mark series, it gets more aggressive, and it's affecting the gain only. It's not changing the voicing of the amp at all, really. So that's why they have the graphic EQ afterwards. That's where you change all of your, you know, your tonal things. You know, your actual EQ is in the power amp section. So it's actually really cool how these amps are. Once you understand that, you'll start turning the knobs fearlessly and be like, well, okay, so this isn't really going to greatly affect my tone too much. It's just going to affect how the amp feels and the gain structure of the amp. Now, the exception to that is the bass and the presence. The presence definitely will brighten it up quite a bit, and the bass, I mean, you got to watch your bass on the Mark amps. I mean, you can get really out of hand with that. That's why I have mine around 9 o'clock. Most people have the bass anywhere from almost all the way down to around 9 o'clock. Anything past that is too much. So anyways, so if you have a Mark Series amp, explore that preamp section and that active EQ in there. It really does help with the shape of the gain structure and the feel of the amp and the aggressive level. And I always say this too, like if you have an overdrive pedal, it's just not working for you, you know, with this amp or any other Mark amp. It's just not aggressive enough. Just crank the treble up and adjust the pedal accordingly, or do a little bit of both. Adjust your pedal the best you can, and then take that treble knob on the amp and just monkey around with it until you get a really good setting. And it actually helps your pedal. It really does. So let me do that now. I have the grid slammer engaged again. So what do I have? I got the treble all the way up. Let's go back here. Turn the treble down. Let's find the sweet spot with the treble right now. And again, we're still in Mark IV mode. Yeah, right here is a nice sweet spot, but if you want to get like super aggressive without, you know, without having too much, you might even be able to go to 3 o'clock, but I think that's really nice right there. And it helped shape the gain structure a little bit more and make it as aggressive and modern as I wanted it to sound without it getting too out of control. When I cranked it all the way up, I mean, it was nuts. But when I had it all the way down, did you notice I didn't lose any treble? I just lost some aggression. You know, it just kind of started getting a little looser on the low end. As soon as I got back up to noon, the low end tightened up and the amp sounded way better, and then I found my sweet spot around 2 o'clock. So a couple more riffs with those settings. Yeah, that's freaking killer, man. That really sounds good. I think I'm a little out of tune here. Every once in a while I get crappy comments. Tune your guitar, bro. Oh, okay. Well, I'm spinning 8,000 plates here while I'm doing these videos, and every once in a while, something's gonna get missed. I'm not perfect. I know, shocker, right? I just broke the internet. I'm not perfect. Weird. I know all you guys are like freaking passing out right now. Anyway, so let's go through the different modes. Let's go from the Mark IV to the 2C Plus mode, and then we'll go to extreme mode. Wonder what extreme mode's gonna be like. We'll see. Seems like Mark II C Plus mode is a little more focused and a little more top-endy as well. Just a hair more top-end and aggression in that mode. I do like it though. It's actually pretty cool. So let me switch back and forth between that and Mark IV mode again. Yeah, it's a little less gainy too on the Mark II C Plus mode. I found that to be kind of interesting. So yeah, on this amp, as far as the high gain stuff goes, I prefer the Mark IV mode. It's fatter and more gain and a little more aggressive, I think. Yeah, maybe I said the 2C Plus mode was more aggressive. I don't know. It's more top-endy, but I don't know. I just feel like the Mark IV mode is just bigger, and yeah, I like it better. One more time, I'll switch between them, starting with the 2C Plus mode. Yeah, that's freaking nuts. Mark IV all the way. Now let's go to extreme mode. From Mark IV to extreme. Yeah, less compressed, a little more open, and you can tell by the volume jump. There's less compression. So it probably bypasses that compression circuit and just gives you a more open feel. And you know, if you're in a band situation and your amp's just not loud enough, then just go to extreme mode and it'll bypass that. That's actually kind of cool. And it's not too open for me, you know. It's still got a little bit of compression and stuff, but let's play it again. Actually, that sounds really good too. I could go either way. So if I just wanted a little more volume, I don't mind the amount of openness that's on this particular channel, or this mode, if you will. It actually sounds really good. Still has a great feel to it as well, so it's not as open as some of the amps that I've played that I just didn't care for. So yeah, if you're lacking some volume, just switch to extreme mode and bypass a little bit of that compression. Or if you don't like compressed amps, this is the way to go, while still maintaining a bit of a squish and a nice feel as well. So yeah, let's go back to the Mark IV mode though, because I do prefer that the best anyways. So there we go. Very cool amp though. I mean, the thing is I do very much like this amplifier. I think it's if you're interested in getting a Mark Series amp, but you don't want to spend the money. I mean, let's face it, they're expensive. Even the older ones are freaking ridiculously priced now. You know, and a lot of people just don't want to spend that kind of money. I mean, this is a great gateway into getting into the Mark Series amplifiers, and it does have a lot of the great stuff that the Mark Series amps have, and you can familiar yourself with the preamp section and the, you know, the EQ faders and the graphic EQ and all that, and just how these amps work. And it's a great way to learn about these at a lower price. For what this amp is in its class, you know, the EL84 class with, you know, the 25 watt class, it is still pricey compared to other amplifiers, but I think it's worth it. I really do. I mean, these are built really well, and they're great sounding amps, and they're very versatile. I mean, you just saw all the stuff I could do with this amp, and they do sound really good. In fact, while I'm playing it, I'm like, man, what do I do with this thing? But to be honest with you, I am unfortunately parting ways with this amp. Not because I don't like it, because I obviously do. I mean, how can you not like this amp after hearing it? It just sounds incredible. But the reason why I'm parting ways with it, well, there's a couple. Number one, I got the JP. I mean, if you got a JP, in my opinion, that's the absolute best Mark Series amp out there. And I'm comparing it to all of them that have ever been built. No disrespect to the other amps or people that own the other ones. I just think the JP has it all. I mean, it's got every feature you could possibly want. It's got the different voicings and the different way it's set up. It's got the dual EQs. I mean, it's just got everything that a Mark Series amp would require, for me anyways. The only thing it doesn't have is the Mark IV mode, which I think would be freaking awesome. But the 2C Plus version in this particular amp sounds amazing, and it's actually better than the 2C Plus version in the Mark V 25. I mean, the power section is completely different in the JP, and it's just, you know, it's a different animal. So I mean, I have the JP, so why have another, like a smaller, quote-unquote, not as good version of the same kind of amp, or at least a similar amplifier? I mean, so that's one of the reasons why I'm selling it. The other reason is I'm trying to make room on my shelf for new amplifiers, stuff I can just try out on the show and just get some new blood in here and rotate things out. You know, I have my keepers, and then I have my ones that I rotate in and out. And just because I rotate them in and out doesn't mean I don't like them. It just means that, you know, I mean, we all have our favorites, and we all have ones that are like very nice, but I want to try something else now. You know what I mean? So I think it's great, and if you own one of these amps, be proud. I mean, they're really good amps. And try some of the settings that I showed you, and try, you know, that treble knob trick with your overdrive pedal. Find a happy medium between the two, and you can really sculpt your tone and make the amp sound its best when you do that. So let's go ahead and show the difference between the Mark V 25 and the JP now. I'm going to go ahead and fire up the JP. I'll switch back and forth. Just keep your eye on the screen down here. Whatever amp you see down there, that's the one I'm playing. And we'll just see how they differ with the way they sound and the way they feel. So I'm going to do 3 different shootouts with these amps. I'm going to do one with the clean channels, and then I'm going to do one with the Mark V 25 in the 2C Plus mode against the JP Mark II C Plus. And then I'm going to put the Mark V 25 into Mark IV mode and shoot that out against the JP and just see how they compare. Let's start with the clean channels. I thought the clean channels were actually pretty comparable. I thought they were both really good in their own right. So yeah, I mean, you could go either way on the cleans. Definitely both have great cleans. I mean, you're going to get more headroom out of the JP because it's a lot more power in that amplifier. So definitely you get more headroom, but they both sound very great, very good. But they both sound very good and musical, usable, all the things that a Mark Clean channel is expected to sound like. So let's move on to the 2C plus mode in the Mark 525 against the JP. Yeah, the JP was much fuller and just nastier. It just sounded way better to me, and just bigger, just a really big sound coming out of it. You know, but the Mark 525 put up a really good fight. I mean, for what it is, I think it sounds really freaking good. So again, if you can't afford a JP or a Mark 7 or whatever, you know, the Mark 525 is a really good amplifier for you. So let's switch the Mark 525 into Mark 4 mode, which is a little fuller, a little less focused, and see how that compares to the JP. Well, the Mark IV mode definitely brought the Mark 525 much closer to the JP. I still think the JP was bigger, fuller, and better sounding, but that Mark IV mode definitely helps. So that's why, like in that amplifier, I prefer the Mark IV mode, because of the EL34s and the fact that it has a smaller power section, it actually needs all the help it can get to make it sound bigger. So I would advise you to use it in the Mark IV mode if you want a bigger sound. And it keeps up with the JP much better. I still prefer the JP for, you know, it's got MIDI, it's got, you know, it's got all these different features, and it's got 3 amazing channels in it. I mean, it's just, you guys see my videos about it. I mean, it's just a great freaking amplifier. So that's why I'm selling the Mark 525. Not because I don't like it, I just have a better version of that, and I just see no reason to keep 2 versions of the same amp around where one version is so much more superior than the other. So I'm definitely going to be selling the Mark 525, but again, it doesn't mean I don't like it. And if you own one of those amps, be proud that you own it. They're amazing amplifiers. But if you had to choose between the Mark 525 and the JP, and money wasn't an issue, I mean, yeah, definitely go for the JP. In my opinion, like I've said many times, it is the best freaking Mark Series amp that Mesa has ever built, and I don't think they'll ever top it. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it informative. And to all my Patreon supporters and subscribers, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified every time I either go live or come out with new episodes. I haven't made an official announcement about this yet in a video, but I'll just say it here unofficially, casually. I'll do it casually. How's that? I have been accepted into Sweetwater's affiliate program. I'm partners with them now, and I'm really grateful for that. So there's a bunch of links in the description of this video. So if there's things that you like that I use on this channel, most of them are in those links. And if you click on that link and purchase something from Sweetwater for yourself, I do get a slight little kickback from them, but it helps me keep the lights on here. Literally helps me keep going with this channel, and it funds the channel and keeps things going, and you get a great deal on a piece of gear for yourself. A lot of you guys that watch the show do buy from Sweetwater, and I'm still an affiliate with Motor City Guitar as well, so if you want to do business with them, feel free to click on my affiliate link with them as well and get an awesome piece of gear for yourself. I mean, either way is fine with me. Support stores out there who do good business, and I think both companies do a great job when it comes to all the awesome gear that we like to play. Anyways, well, I have a lot more stuff coming up for you guys, and I will see you on the next video.